Anheuser-Busch is one of the companies that has been in the headlines quite a bit this year, a Bud Light-related controversy, as you certainly well know.
Yes.
I don't know to what degree you're comfortable talking about specific companies, but let's talk about an issue like that. If you were tasked with you and your team at Skyline with sort of handling some of the PR fallouts for a name like Anheuser-Busch, what would that conversation have looked like?
Sure. It's not always easy to handle a crisis, right? And this applies to a variety of different companies and crises. What we advise clients is don't remain silent. You have to say something. It may be just that we're still investigating. For instance, if you remember years ago when the Tylenol capsules were somehow laced with cyanide and several deaths occurred, it's okay to say we're still investigating, but to remain silent is very detrimental because investors, the public, are wondering what's happening. Silence may mean culpability, may mean that they're guilty of this or that. So really making a statement and either saying, we're investigating, we're aware of the situation, we're investigating it, or if, they realize and understand the situation fully, taking responsibility for it. Saying this is what happened, maybe we made a mistake. It wasn't intentional, but here are the steps that led to this particular mistake or this accident or something like that, and explaining it.
Another company that's been very much in the headlines this year has been Target. We talk about the backlash to so-called rainbow capitalism or Pride Month backlash. How can companies, you think, overall better handle boycotts or protests, especially in the face of unfavorable headlines, when obviously this is very much the reputation of the brand itself could suddenly be at stake in the minds of many of their longtime consumers?
Yeah, it's a good question. Public relations is challenging, right? And when a company's image gets tarnished, the effects can be far-reaching. And companies like Anheuser-Busch and Target, need to, I think they're trying to be, inclusive and friendly to, a number of different, groups and constituents out there. And inclusion is obviously very important, but a situation where there's a risk for a public image damage, it's really goes back to what I said before. Acknowledging the issue, acknowledging maybe there was a mistake, maybe we didn't do this correctly. Here's what we're doing to fix it, and here's what we'll do next time so that the same mistake isn't repeated. And that's how companies can establish trust again, and how they can engender confidence from investors and from the general public by getting control of the situation, by acknowledging maybe there was a mistake, but here was the intent of this particular program with Bush or with Target. This is what we intended to do. We intended to do good things, right? We really did. Here's what went wrong, and here's what we've learned from this. And that generally will help, as I said, engender confidence and trust in the brand, and it won't be as much of a public relations issue or disaster.